All right, Colton. So we just launched a video about what we should be working on in the off season, and I think it can sometimes help, like for me and the audience too, to get like sort of a practical, like more like personal spin on this. So we got our drink right here, our Core Power and Coke. So we're getting our nutrition in, and we're going to do a little bit of a bulk in the off season, right? I wanted to ask you a little bit about like timing and what is the best way to go about this, right? So in the golf season, I was like put the gym to the side a little bit more, going less often, so that I wasn't like dead or sore in the legs or something when I was trying to like hit balls. And then, now we're starting to shift gears. I'm starting to go to the gym more often, not be afraid to like burn out my legs, get them tired. Definitely like eat a bit more and like bulk and stuff like that. In your opinion, what's like the right amount of time to start bulking versus cutting? Because I know you teach like that you should be losing weight, but also you need to, be able to bulk a little bit to gain muscle as well. So what's the right balance there?
You shouldn't want to gain any more than like about 10% of your weight, like in like a 6-month period. So like if you weigh 200 pounds and you put on 20 pounds in the off season, like that's more than enough.
Right.
Because if you go any more than that and you don't do your nutrition correctly, then we start putting on too much body fat, and then it's going to take you twice as long to get back down to baseline or cut or lean out, and you have to start all over again.
Right.
So it's like if you're doing it with a coach specifically or one that knows what they're doing, you're going to be able to put on like 10% of your body weight is more than enough slowly. So if you're aiming with cutting or with leaning out, if you aim for a pound a week, 1 to 2 pounds a week, perfect.
Yeah.
If you with bulking, it's almost half that speed. So it's almost like 0.2 to 0.5 pounds per week.
So you're looking for a very tight surplus.
Yeah, because if you're gaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds a week, like you're doing it too fast, you're putting on too much body fat, and then we're going in the opposite direction. So bulking properly is going to take a lot longer,
right?
Which is why it's important to start in the off season, and then you can continue working through that in the summer. But I would say anywhere between 3 and 6 months, focus on half a pound a week naturally is perfect.
Okay.
Being in about a 250 to 500 calorie surplus is more than enough. Prioritizing proteins and carbs, not necessarily. I'm not saying don't eat fat, but from a calorie standpoint, you want to be focusing on like a lot of protein and a lot of carbs to hit your surplus.
Right. So, if you were starting like right now, just sort of like end of the year, October, November, December, you could look at maybe doing a bulk until like sort of April, May.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit shorter than that, depending. Like I said, if you hit your mark of gaining 10 pounds or like your 10% of your body weight in that time.
So maybe 3 months.
Yeah, I would say like if you're diligent, you could probably do it in 3 to 4 months correctly.
Okay.
And again, the beauty about doing it around this time is you get holidays, holiday food, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, easy.
So you get to kind of be a little bit more lax, but then in the summer, obviously you can tighten it up a little bit more because you don't have as many parties and whatever, or holidays of that nature. But like I said, if you're anywhere between like 250, 500 calorie surplus is more than enough.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then I guess when you're starting to cut, I see a big issue that people have is they come into a program like this, and the first thing is like they're probably overweight.
Yeah.
And so when people start a training program, I've always had this question because it's like the first thing that they want to see is they want to lose weight, not gain weight, because they're already overweight.
Right.
But it's like, where do you start there? Do you usually have them cutting first or bulking? Or?
So people will kind of start and guys specifically will put themselves in a massive deficit, and they overdo it in the gym. So they try to basically outwork it. And I would rather you just do a little bit less and just diet a little bit harder. It's a lot easier to control how much goes in your mouth rather than physically exerting yourself much more.
Yeah.
Right? There's only so much you can do. So what I would suggest is I always like to start guys at maintenance for at least 2 to 4 weeks. And normally that in itself feels like a lot if you're eating clean per se, and it spikes their metabolism to fire at a very, very high rate.
Right.
So as an example, if you're 200 pounds, let's use the example that your maintenance calories are 2,400, just as an arbitrary number. I would probably have you starting at 2,400 for at least 2 to 4 weeks, get the metabolism firing, and then I don't have to put you in a deep, deep, deep deficit in order to actually cut. Rather than cutting at 1,800 calories, we can, and burning the candle at both ends, in my opinion,
I've tried that, man.
With the
It's
amount
hard.
of strength training you're going to be doing, you need to fuel yourself as well. So maybe it's we start at 24, and then I would take you to 22 for at least like another 4 to 6 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, depending on how your body responds. right? And then if we're kind of plateauing a little bit, then maybe I take you to 2,000. I don't really like taking guys below 2,000. There's just no benefit unless you're trying to step on stage. There's really no benefit to that. No. So I would rather start you at higher calories. And the beauty about this, when you go to that, a lot of people don't understand, is when you reverse out. That's the big thing. So a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'm done my cut. Now I can just start eating again normally."
Right.
And it's like, well, not really. Now that your metabolism is slowly starting to go down, we have to re-ramp it back up. So we reverse you out slowly. So we restart to increase your calories at the same rate we've essentially decreased them at. Okay. So we get 2 to 4 weeks at 200 calories more, and then maybe 4 to 6 weeks at 200 calories more.
Yeah, you're sort of a fan of like taking these little steps.
You have to. So slow is smooth and smooth is fast, in my opinion. and so when you're doing that, and then you can reverse back up to possibly higher than what your maintenance calories were before, and you're going to be able to maintain the weight you're currently at. If you just flip-flop and go from like 2,000 calories and you start eating 3,000 immediately, you're just going to dismantle all the work you just did,
right? Essentially.
So doing that and then getting back to maintenance and then chilling there for probably 2 to 3 months to let your body kind of adjust, and then we can make a decision after what you want to do after that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks for that. I think that's very insightful. You know, if you guys have more questions or want more of like a hands-on, direct like sort of plan for you and someone to actually look over this stuff with you as you're going, help you through it. Yeah. It's definitely one of the best investments that I've made personally, is like starting on that journey and then having the accountability, right? Because I think we have a good idea of what you need to do, you know, pick up heavy stuff, put it back down, eat well,
Yep.
But we don't always know what that looks like. And then it's also a lot easier said than done. Like we know a lot of things that are good for us, but it's not the education that we're looking for. It's also the implication. Making sure that it's getting done, right? You said that to me once.
I said that to you once. I said there's no really new information under the sun.
Yeah.
Right? You're not paying for the education, because you could technically find that by yourself.
Yeah.
You're paying for the implementation.
Which is also a danger though. If you start going too much on yourself, there's so many conflicting philosophies. There's a lot of garbage out there. And then, you know, there's something to be said about the simplicity versus like trying to take in every piece of information. Because if you go down that rabbit hole of just like scrolling too much and listening to everyone do it. So pick your guy. Pick someone who aligns with like your values. You know what I mean? I think for a lot of people watching this, it probably is like golf and fitness overlap. So that's it's perfect. You're one of the only guys doing those specific things together. Right. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys got some value to this. Like I said, if you guys are looking for any more information, please check the link below in the comments. More than happy to see if I can help. And as always, we'll see you for the next one.